Stop waiting for the right moment, because it will never come. Life doesn't pause for you to feel ready. It keeps moving, faster than you think. How many times have you said one day, and that day never came? You wait for the fear to disappear, for the plan to be perfect, for the timing to feel right. But while you wait, opportunities fade, and the world keeps spinning. The truth is, action creates clarity, not the other way around. Every step you take, even when uncertain, shapes the person you're meant to become. So stop waiting. Start moving. The right moment is now. You kept waiting for that right moment. You told yourself it wasn't the time yet, that you needed to feel more confident, more prepared. But deep down, you knew it was fear. The fear of failing. The fear of what others would say. The fear of trying and realizing you weren't good enough. You watched others move forward while you stood still, trapped in your own thoughts. Every idea you had turned into hesitation. Every dream started to fade behind excuses that sounded reasonable. I'll start when things calm down. I'll do it after I fix my life. But nothing ever changed. The more you waited, the heavier it became to start. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. You looked at your goals and felt distant from them, almost like they belonged to someone else. You blamed time, work, people, luck. But deep inside, you knew the truth. You weren't missing time. You were missing courage. There were moments when you felt the fire again. That little spark inside whispering that you could do it. But then came the voice of doubt. The one that said you weren't ready, that the conditions weren't right. And so you waited again. You kept chasing the feeling of being ready, not realizing that readiness comes from doing, not thinking. You convinced yourself that perfection was the goal, that one perfect plan would fix everything. But perfection is just another form of fear. It keeps you safe, comfortable, stuck. You scrolled through your phone, watched people succeeding, and told yourself they had something you didn't. But they didn't wait. They acted. The truth hit hard. The right moment was never missing. You were. Every delay, every excuse, every doubt was stealing your time, your dreams, your potential. You weren't lazy. You were scared. And that fear made you believe that waiting was safer than failing. But in the end, waiting became the slowest way to fail. And then life started to pass by quietly. One day looked just like the other. You woke up, went through the motions, told yourself tomorrow would be different. But tomorrow kept slipping away. You looked back and realized months had vanished, and your goals were still on the same page where you left them. That's the real cost of waiting. It doesn't hurt at once, it hurts slowly. You stop dreaming big. You stop believing you can change. You convince yourself that maybe this is just who you are, that maybe your time has passed. But deep down, that's not peace, it's surrender. You felt it every time you saw someone doing what you once dreamed of doing. That sting in your chest, that silent what if. You smiled, said you were happy for them, but part of you wondered why you didn't try harder. Why you let fear win again. The worst part wasn't losing the dream. It was losing the belief that you could ever get it back. Each year that passed made it harder to start, because the weight of regret kept growing. The mind whispered, "You're too far behind." And you believed it. You believed that if the right moment didn't come before, it wouldn't come now. But the truth was cruel. The right moment had come, every single day. It was there when you woke up, when you felt that spark of motivation, when your heart whispered that it wasn't too late. But you silenced it, waiting for something external to save you. Days turned into years. The mirror started reflecting a version of you that carried more doubt than dreams. You saw how comfort became a cage. You realized that by protecting yourself from failure, you were also protecting yourself from growth. And the pain of inaction became heavier than the fear of trying. You started to feel trapped inside your own excuses, stuck between who you were and who you could have been. That's when the truth hit. Waiting for the right moment was never the problem. It was the lie that kept you from living. Because every moment you waited, life moved on without you. And no matter how much you tried to ignore it, deep inside, you knew the right moment was gone the second you refused to act. But one day, something changed. You got tired of your own excuses. You looked at your life and realized no one was coming to save you. No perfect timing, no sign from the universe, no magical burst of motivation. It was just you. And for the first time, that truth didn't scare you. It set you free. You stopped waiting for the right moment. You started creating it. You woke up earlier, even when your body begged for comfort. You moved, even when your mind screamed to stop. You didn't wait to feel ready anymore. You acted while still afraid. And with every small step, you felt something grow inside you, belief. You understood that change wasn't about doing everything at once. It was about showing up every day, even when it felt pointless. It was about trusting that progress hides inside repetition. You didn't need to move fast, you just needed to move. Because consistency builds strength, and strength builds confidence. You faced your fears, one at a time. You failed, you stumbled, you doubted yourself, but you didn't stop. Each failure stopped feeling like proof of weakness. It became proof of effort. You learned to see discipline not as punishment, but as freedom. Because every time you kept your promise to yourself, you became someone you could trust again. The fear didn't disappear. It walked beside you. But now, it no longer led the way. You learned to act even with fear in your chest, even with uncertainty in your mind. That's courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move through it. And slowly, things started to change. Your body felt lighter, your thoughts clearer. The world around you looked the same, but you didn't. You began to notice moments that once felt impossible now felt normal. You stopped chasing perfection and started building momentum. Each day became a victory. Not because everything went right, but because you refused to give up. You realized that the right moment wasn't something to wait for. It was something you created with your own hands, through discipline, courage, and faith. You understood that growth isn't a miracle. It's a choice. And that choice lives in every single action you take, especially when it's hard. So you kept moving. One step, one breath, one day at a time. You weren't waiting anymore. You were becoming. And then, everything started to make sense. The effort, the pain, the days when you wanted to quit, they all built the foundation for the person you were becoming. You began to see yourself differently. Stronger, sharper, more alive. The same fears that once held you back now fueled your drive. You stopped doubting your potential because you had proof. Every action, every step, every small victory. You looked around and realized that life hadn't changed by magic. You had changed. The world responded to your movement. Opportunities appeared because you were finally moving toward them. People started to notice your energy, your focus, your discipline. You didn't need to tell anyone you were different. They could see it. Confidence became your new normal. Not arrogance, but calm certainty. You didn't chase perfection anymore. You chased growth. Every challenge became a test of who you were becoming, not a threat to your worth. You no longer waited for the right moment. You created it again and again, in every decision, in every choice to keep going. You started waking up with purpose. The things that once felt heavy now felt like proof of progress. You felt proud, not of what you had, but of who you had become. That quiet pride that comes from knowing you faced your own darkness and came out stronger. The voice of fear was still there, but now it whispered instead of shouting. You learned to smile at it, to move anyway. Because you knew that courage isn't about being fearless, it's about walking with fear and still choosing action. And the best part, you realized you didn't need to wait for motivation. You built it through action, through discipline, through belief. Every time you showed up, even when tired, you proved to yourself that you could. And that changed everything. Now, the same life that once felt stuck feels wide open. Every day feels like a chance to grow, to learn, to build. You no longer hope for the right moment, you live it. Because the right moment was never a point in time. It was always a decision, and you finally made it. Stop waiting for the right moment. It doesn't exist. Life rewards those who move, not those who wait. Every dream you have is waiting on your action, not your permission. You don't need more time, you need more courage. The fear won't vanish, but neither will your potential. So take the first step. Fall, rise, learn, grow. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that the moment you stopped waiting was the moment everything began. The right moment isn't out there. It's right here, in your hands now.